there's no end to how much money I would pay to have like David Attenborough like go into like one of those furry conventions and like commentate on like what they're all doing, like he does like with his normal nature shows. And here we see the furry mounting the other furry, and just like talking like that, super serious.
Never breaks character, totally deadpan.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 6 of the Coffee and Beer Fueled General Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Vin Hill, and joining me, as always, is my co-host from the opposite time zone, Mr. Evan Piotrowski.
How much you dock, bro?
How much I dock? I don't even know what that means. What are you talking about?
Well, you docking your Switch? 90-10, 80-20? What you docking?
Well, in terms of days, it's probably like 365-ish. Like I hardly play my Switch anymore. Like what?
Good. You're going for that 100%. I lift weights.
I have no idea what's happening right now.
I lift weights, bro. I don't need some little baby 100-gram Joy-Cons in my hands, to work out these arms. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you need that Switch Lite, I guess.
Yeah, for all those.
That was a terrible joke.
Hey, Vin.
That was I'm trying so hard to go with this. I don't even know what to say.
No, that was my dude bro bit from 2006.
Fucking nailed it. You nailed it, son. Like I'm intimidated right now.
Shit's what was it? Shit's popping.
Shit's popping.
Shit's gonna be popping. Hey Vin, how you
Do you
been?
know what I was from? It's because like recently not recently, like over the past like 4 years or something, I went through a massive phase of just watching a load of battle rap, like a Canadian battle rap. It makes no fucking sense. I know this is weird, but it's totally true.
I like battle rap.
I was watching the King of the Dot battle rap league, and they always say it popping like whenever someone's like doing well or something. So I picked it up from that. But when I say it out loud, it's fucking awful, and it just sounds terrible the second it leaves my lips. And I'm just like, it sounded cool on the videos, but yeah, I'm just a weird British dude watching battle rap at my desk. So yeah.
It's funny. I knew that you were watching those videos one time because I logged into our YouTube channel and just like all these rap battle videos popped up. I was like, oh, looks like Vin forgot to log out before he started watching these.
Yeah, that is probably true.
It happens from time to time, but yeah, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Cool. Very well. I am currently fasting at the moment, so I've been losing a load of weight. I've lost like 15 pounds over the past month, so I'm hungry, as it were.
Yeah,
figuratively and literally, I guess.
You know what we haven't done on this show? We never ask each other what we're drinking.
True. So, with that...
What are you drinking?
Coffee. I'm actually drinking a nice cup of coffee right now. I am drinking a Nescafe Encore, which is basically like it's an instant coffee. I'm not going to lie. It's awful, but it's great, and I love it.
Jesus Christ.
How about you? Anything?
As Mick Womble tries to get Burkoff off cigarettes, I have to fucking get you off instant coffee. How do you call yourself a coffee drinker? And you drink instant coffee.
See, I'm not
blows my
like
mind.
there's two type of people in the world, and I'm sure everyone on the beer umbrella are gonna like, and you're probably gonna like lose your shit as well. But people that drink like craft beer and stuff, and they say, "I'm a connoisseur of beer, and I really like beer, and I try all these different types of beer." Like to me, like I love coffee, but I just drink like the same crap coffee like all day, every day, and I drink a ton of it. That still makes me a coffee person, just because I don't like the vanilla chocolatey stuff, like nice drip coffee from these wonderful machines. But speaking of which, what are you drinking?
I am drinking lovely drip coffee. Takes fucking forever though. I'll tell you that. I made 3 cups.
What's the flavor?
I hand grind. I hand grind the coffee beans and then.
Yeah, do you plant them yourself and dry them out and stuff?
I try. It's just it's not the climate for that in Japan. It's just the seeds don't keep in this acidic dirt. Yeah, it's from a coffee place just down the road. It's nice, deep flavor. I like a fairly bitter coffee. I guess that's probably why I like hoppy beers. I like that crisp bitterness, and this is pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, I've been.
All right.
Every time I try and like drink any like fancy coffee, like I do like them and I like drinking them and they taste good. It's just the preparation and like getting all the knowledge of it, and I just can't get into that shit. Like if you give me a nice cup of coffee, I'll sit there and enjoy it and be like, yeah, I get why you like this, but I just haven't got the time or effort to like do that stuff.
Right.
Oh well. Anyway, video games.
Yes.
But yeah, today it is, I don't know, what's the date today? It is Friday the 20th of September. And today we're going to be talking about some frustrating topics, I guess. Hint, hint. But first, Evan, what have you been playing?
I actually haven't been playing much. I've been watching a lot of Netflix for the past couple weeks for some reason. Well, one reason is I don't have a credit card to link to my PlayStation account, so I can't buy any new games.
Oh, that sucks.
So I haven't been playing much, but I played the free Dragon Quest XI demo on the Switch. They let you play that for 11 hours.
Wow. Okay. That's a decent demo then.
It actually stops. Oh, that's great. I mean, and it makes so much sense. Like, I'm telling you, we have to. It's kind of happening anyways. We have to bring back the demo. Bring back the demo. It's so fucking cool, and I'm actually going to buy this game because of it. And you know, it's an 80-hour game. Like, what is the first 10 hours really?
Right.
Like, you don't really know what you feel about a JRPG until about 6, 7. So I think it was, and the game came out on the PlayStation 4 last year, and then Japan the year before that. So they're just kind of like, just give them 10 hours or whatever. I think it makes total sense. The game, it is the most JRPG that ever JRPG'd.
Right. So like super anime and like tropey characters and stuff.
Yeah, it's so, you know, like the Japanese voice acting is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the most recent Final Fantasy VII trailer, I know a lot of people are talking about how the English voice acting was kind of cheesy.
It's bound to be.
And yeah, but it's like that's kind of how that works. Like JRPGs kind of all spawned from like Japanese storytelling, like anime and manga, and that's kind of just how it is.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the actual like the source material though. Like if you actually read the lines, like they're awful. Like in terms of like quality of content, you know, and not to like it works within the context of JRPGs. But if you just read them line by line in English, it's like you give that to a voice actor. There's only so much they can do, you know. Like they can right. Try their damnedest, but they're never gonna give it like pure justice like it would be in like an original Japanese. But if people don't know Japanese, then Japanese always sounds better because they just like they don't know how cheesy it sounds. It just sounds cool in Japanese, you know, sort of thing. So it's funny.
Yeah, I heard someone say that. Like, they said the Japanese sounds cool, but I wonder like how it sounds. Like, if you understand it, it's good. Right. Like, I think it's really good. It's like the voice acting here in Japan is like top tier level. Like, these people have been doing it for forever. Just like veterans that do like they've been doing anime their whole life and that, and they're ready to go and they know exactly what to do, and it doesn't sound cheesy at all. But Dragon Quest XI. It's good, but it is like basic. It's going back old school. Like you're the reincarnation of like the hero, and you have to defeat the big evil that hasn't appeared yet. And to help you, there's this ragtag group of traditional JRPG kind of anime archetypes, like the thief or the sassy little girl or the old man who might be perverted. I don't know yet. He's actually not in my party. There's like the badass.
Well, at least it's original.
Yeah,
you know?
The badass chick that like uses her kicks, pretty much like Tifa, really, to beat up and kind of prove herself in the man's world. If you want to like, so there's all these things that you'd expect from a JRPG. It's turn-based battle. It's exactly what it's like it's like playing an old school 16-bit JRPG. Right. I haven't played one of those in a really long time. Like that used to be my wheelhouse when I was a kid. Like I played way too many JRPGs. I love them.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't play them anymore. I play one a year, if that. So the fact that it's going back to like your old school traditional, more kind of like streamlined, simple, stripped down JRPG battle system and story, I'm fine with that because I don't play those games a lot. At first, I kind of was like, man, this is so like, this story has been told already. Like, why am I playing this game? And then I was like, kind of trashing it a bit, at least in my mind. I'm like, well, I do like Final Fantasy IX,
Right.
and they went back old school with it. I mean, they added a lot of stuff with like, you know, equipment and learning moves from the stuff you equip, and then keeping those innate traits of the equipment, you know, after you master it. But whatever. So it's good. I like it. You know, it's like you leave your hometown when you're of age, and then when you come back, the town has been destroyed. It's like, are you kidding me? But I like the characters. Like, the dialogue is good. There's like this blue-haired thief guy that you meet, and at first I was like, oh my gosh, this guy looks lame. But he's written well, and like, it's just kind of like, yeah, you know, I haven't played a JRPG in a long time. Like, I'm fine with this. So yeah, it's good, and yeah, the demo, they need to bring that back, because that sold me on the game.
I know I know you mean well by it, and I get exactly what you mean as well with when it comes to JRPGs, because if I play a JRPG like in this day and age that's just come out, like a recently new one that comes out, like I'm a lot more sort of judgmental about like a new one than I am compared to like replaying Final Fantasy IX, which has got all them tropes, because I'm a bit more forgiving because it's in the past sort of thing. It's like a new thing they're trying to push on me, I guess. But yeah, they are nice to go back.
That is a fair argument.
Yeah, they are nice to go back to sometimes, though, because it feels like it's just like a relaxing thing. Like, you don't have to like think about it, you know. So that is the good thing about JRPGs.
I would be far more critical of this game if I was playing, you know, if I was into JRPGs and like played them often.
Right.
Like, this is like old. This game's not doing anything new. Funnily enough, in the Switch version, you can play the entire game in like 16-bit.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of funny. It's like they know exactly what type of game they were trying to make, and yeah. So no, it's good. I enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And Rhett, how about you? What have you been playing?
I played quite a lot of things, actually. So I'm gonna chip through like 3 things, I guess, like really quick. But
sure.
Yeah, the main thing which I played was actually, I'll go in reverse order. Yesterday, I got some mail, and I got my Genesis Mini came through, or would be the Mega Drive Mini in Europe. It's not actually out in Europe until October 4th, but yeah, we got it in Canada and North America yesterday, and I've been playing that for the last 2 days, and it's been playing through Comic Zone and Sonic 1 and all that sort of stuff. But as you know, I've recently become sort of like the classic console advocate, and I've got them all pretty much. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, the only one I haven't got is the Commodore 64, but I've been looking at it and I've been seriously thinking about getting it, even though it's ridiculous.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but yeah,
you'll have to collect them all come March,
right? As long as I don't have to stop fighting people in leagues and stuff.
So how is it like playing with the controller?
Yeah, I mean,
old school controller
it's a very strange sort of classic console, like, compared to all the other ones, because it's got the best game lineup, it's got the best build quality. Like, the controllers feel great, like they're really responsive, like the actual buttons themselves, it doesn't feel cheap, like it feels like an original controller. It feels absolutely great. The only problem is, which sort of ironically, all the reviews have been praising the people that made the actual games and the emulation and stuff, because it's handled by a company called M2, and they made all of the sort of Sega classic compilation games that are on the PS4 and the Switch. They do all of that as well, and they did this one, but they've really sort of fumbled it in a weird way. Like there's a lot of it's really laggy sometimes. Like, the music doesn't sync. Like, it's sometimes, like on Kid Chameleon, the music is just constantly speeding up and slowing down, like, consistently, like the whole time that you're playing
weird.
And it's really weird, and it's horrible. But no one mentioned it in the reviews, and it's sort of weird.
No.
Like the hacking community recently, like the people that are sort of cracking this thing open. Like, I've been watching them and following them, like, go through this, but they've sort of figured out that maybe the people that got review copies a month ago, like the people that got the review units, they might have got a different version. And it's sort of, if that's true, then stories might start coming out about it, and it might be a bit I don't know. We'll see. Like if that comes to fruition. But from my experience, I'm actually playing it, and the fact that no one mentioned it, like I could totally believe that. And just seeing like the really weird emulation issues that are in the console. Not that it matters because it's probably going to get hacked out at some point, and I'm probably just going to like update the emulator so I can carry on like playing the same games, because that is the funny thing about this one compared to all of the other consoles, because the game collection is so great on it. Like there's 40 games. All of them are top tier. The only game that's really missing is Sonic 3. Everything else is banging. It's got like Comic Zone, Kid Chameleon, like I mentioned. It's got like 4 Sonic games.
I love Kid Chameleon.
There's so many great games.
So long.
Yeah, there's so many great games on there. Like I've been playing Golden Axe. Just there's loads. Like there's Gunstar Heroes on there. There's like if you're interested in like Genesis, like go and check out just the list itself. Like it's a really really impressive console. The only thing that
does it have
Sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry. Just quickly, does it have Golden Axe 2?
No, it doesn't. That's the only thing.
Oh,
yeah. There's a couple of omissions, but like what they've done is like all of the main series that they've looked at. They've sort of said, like, what is the best game in this series, and then they've taken that out. Like they've looked at Streets of Rage, and they said, okay, the second one is like the best, so we're gonna put that one.
Okay.
In there. And they've been very smart about it, and like most of the time, like they've picked the right ones, sort of thing. The only omission really is they've got Sonic 1, Sonic 2, but they haven't got Sonic 3 or Sonic and Knuckles. Like they're the 2 games that are sort of missing out there. But honestly, outside of that, it's really hard to say that. Yeah, a lot of people probably aren't going to hack this thing just purely because it's got such a great lineup on there. So yeah, I'm really loving it. The console itself is great. It's just a little bit of a letdown on the emulation side. But the other things that I was going to mention, I finished Final Fantasy 9. I played that on the PlayStation 1, and I love that game. Like I finished it, and my wife was just like, yeah, this isn't that great of a game. I'm like, no, it's awesome. It's the best game ever. Because she was watching me play it, and she was like, why are they doing it? And I'm looking at it with like my nostalgia glasses on,
I think Mitch actually recently played it for the first time and finished it, and
this is true.
He said something about like he didn't like the story turn in the third act. I quite liked it. I just didn't get why that final boss showed up. Like that was weird. That's the weirdest part of that game.
Yeah, if you play it again, like as an adult, like a fully functioning adult, like it's the best way I can describe it. Because there were so many things in that game which I've been like playing it again recently. Like so many things, like oh, I totally missed that, sort of thing. And it makes sense, like why that dude is there. I'm not gonna go into it now because like it's a whole thing. But I'm
sure there's a YouTube video that explains it.
Yeah, it is explained. But like, I totally agree with him. Like, as an adult, if I was playing Final Fantasy 9 for the first time, like seeing like the completely bananas sort of, like third act that happens is like Memoria. What the hell? Like, where is Pandemonium? Why are you in a crystal world? Like, you don't even know what's happening, and it's nuts.
I think they were trying to. Like, because I actually I like Kuja as a antagonist. I think he's a really good antagonist.
I love the third act. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And I like how it's similar to and not similar, but I think they were taking a bit from 7, where Sephiroth kind of finds out who he is.
Yeah,
and that kind of makes him go crazy. And something similar kind of happens with Kuja as well. Like that's kind of a character turn for him, and I liked all that stuff. And final boss, this game's old. One of the final time you fight him, the boss music is really really good.
Oh dude, I was bigging up that track all the way through, like that game, and I was like, man, I can't wait to hear that track. Like when I get there, and it's still great. Final Fantasy 9 is still an amazing game. If you're listening to this and you still haven't played it, then sort your life out and go and buy it. Like you can get it on every platform pretty much now. It's on the Switch, it's on the PS4, it's on PC. You can get it on your phone, for Christ's sake. Like, go play it. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. The last game which I played, which I'm gonna talk about, is I played Wolfenstein YOUNGBLOOD. I finished this. Yeah, it's like a half price game. It's sort of in the same line as a Lost Legacy type deal. It's a part of the main series of Wolfenstein, but it's not actually like a fully fledged game. It's about Blazkowicz's 2 daughters. They're trying to find him in Paris. This game is super, super weird. And I don't mean that really in a good way either. Like, it's probably the weakest Wolfenstein.
No.
Yeah, and they've basically made this game to experiment. and you can tell like it's a lot of things that they've just thrown into this game. Like, oh, we're gonna try all this stuff out, and if something sticks, like if people like it, then we're gonna put this in the next one, sort of thing. So yeah, and there's a lot of crazy stuff. The main thing, which I think you're gonna hate more than anything, is the fact that it's a very online co-op focused game. It's a semi-open world game, which is really, really weird. It's kind of like Destiny in that respect, where you have open areas and you can just go in and out depending where you're going. The game's got raids, which is really, really strange for a Wolfenstein game.
You gotta stop talking, man.
Right, I'm breaking your heart. I know. But I didn't know any of this.
They really have to stop putting open worlds into every fucking series. Like,
right.
Some games can be linear.
Dude, it gets worse. Like, wait for it. Yeah, it gets worse. They've got leveling in the game. So if you're not high enough level, then basically enemies turn into sponges. And you just it really kills the flow of the game if you go into an area which is a bit out of your level range and stuff. Like I said, I think this game is purely just them experimenting. But there are really, really good things to this as well, like in terms of like they're experimenting. Like the characters were really, really goofy and like really cheesy and really well done in that respect. Like if you let in the cheese sort of thing, like if you can smell the cheese, and it's good. You know, like it's very 80s and very like, you know, synthwave and all that sort of shit. And they're like, yeah, dude, and stuff. And they're all like fist bumping and stuff every 5 seconds.
That,
yeah. I mean, so
this series toes the line between like larger than life characters, crazy situations. Yeah,
this one rides that line probably more than any of them. I guess like they're really, really over the top, sort of cheesy. Like it's just completely wild. But the best thing about the two girls are their agility and like how they move is completely different to the other Wolfenstein games, which feels like very heavy and very set in your footsteps sort of thing.
Yeah.
The girls can jump, they can slide, they can do like dashes to the side and stuff, and it just completely changes the dynamic of the game. And it almost feels like Doom in a certain respect, but with a bit more agility. So the way you can double jump in some areas and things like that, like you gain double jump abilities, really, really cool.
So you like that?
Yeah, I love that.
And a bit faster,
right? And it feels great. Like just to actually control, like when you sort of get used to the locomotion of the game, and you see an enemy and you can like sprint at them and then slide on the floor and shoot at the same time. It's really cinematic and like fuck yeah, and like these Nazis are just like their heads are popping off and stuff. It's hilarious and it works really well, and coupled with all the cheese and all that sort of stuff, it does work. But fundamentally, it's just the semi-open world of it. The story is really, really thin and stingy. You can tell like they really banged this game out quick, I guess. In terms of narrative, it's just really, there's not really much there. Like your dad goes missing, he's in Paris somewhere, and you've just got to go and find him, and that's pretty much the whole story. And then at the end, shocker, guess what happened, sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, like it hasn't got any crazy story like plot twist like the other games have and stuff. So, but at the same time, it's a $30 game. So yeah,
right. My love for the series requires me to play this game at some point. So yeah, I'll definitely do that.
If you are going to play it, I would say try and find someone to play it with. I know you're not like an online multiplayer sort of guy, but it's co-op focused. So try and find someone to play
basically. Yeah, it's digital sofa co-op. Okay,
exactly. Yeah,
over the internet.
That's exactly
so
it.
I will. Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely want to play it. I like what you said about it being a bit faster like Doom, but also you have more like movement skills that, you know, make you more agile. Like I like all that stuff.
Yeah,
all that other stuff you said I didn't like too much, but it's one of those things. Like the Old Blood was kind of like a spin-off with like zombies.
Yeah.
Which is quite weird. So this seems like it's like Final Fantasy X too. Like you can kind of forgive it for experimenting,
right? And I think that, and I do like, because I think that's what they're doing. I think they're just using this spin-off. Like this isn't the main series. Let's just go balls to the wall and just try everything, so we know what to do for the next game. We'll see what sticks and we'll see what people like. I hope there's certain things that they don't keep, like the semi-open world thing, just really, really ruins the game for me. Like I really don't like it. It just feels off. Because it'd be like, hey, you've got a mission, you've got to go over there, and you've got to go and do it, and you've been to that area 15 times already, sort of thing. And you and it's the same enemies, but they scale and level with you. So like if you're
how does that work with shooting
weird.
someone in the head if they're bullet sponges?
They become sponges, and they like headshots.
That doesn't make any.
Yeah.
That's so stupid. I do not like that at all.
Yeah, but at the same time, like they've got certain things which are just overpowered, like regardless of what level they are at. So you've got throwing hatchets and throwing knives in the game. I don't know if they were in the other games. I'm pretty sure they were, but not in
they're
high capacity.
They're pretty OP.
Right.
Like, the one knife will you could throw a knife at an SS officer's leg and they'll die.
Yeah,
I always like that. That's funny.
Yeah, but saying all of this, like even though it's it's a very average game overall, it's got some really really good moments in there, especially with the agility and like how you move. If you can forgive it for like all the experiment that they're doing in the game, it is enjoyable. I finished it. I had fun. I just didn't like the very sort of online aspect to it, like the whole co-op side of it. Like if you're not playing with a person and an AI takes over, which is serviceable, like it does its job, but like you're running around with like both of the sisters are constantly together sort of thing, and the other sister is obviously an AI and she's helping you out and picking you up if you go down sort of thing. Serviceable, but at times it just breaks the game because like the AI will be out in the middle of a firefight and just like getting murdered, and she will go down, and if you don't pick her up then you die. Like even if you're fully alive, you're taking cover, you're doing your thing, or you're moving, doing wide flanks, she gets hit by like a 20-foot dude in a mech, and you're like, fuck, like there's no way I'm going to be able to get over there, pick her up, and then come back here and carry on doing my thing. Like it just sort of breaks. There's a lot of things that break the sort of flow of the game, and that's it. Just adds to the pile of it, and like on top of that, with the leveling and just how enemies are, the open areas, like revisiting the same 5 places over and over again. It's just very, very strange, but worth checking out, like if you're a fan of the series, because it's interesting to see what they might include in the future sort of thing. So I would check it out. It's only $30 full price. It's probably going to go down in price over time. So yeah, I'd probably pick this up for 20, like if you could. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
I'll definitely pick it up. I've been interested in it, regardless of some of the slightly more disappointing aspects of it. But that's. I mean, it sounds like it's worth it. It's worth a playthrough. So that's what I'm most interested in.
Yeah, it's worth checking out just for what they have done right, but it's important to remember that it's not a main part of the series, and you sort of squeeze like past that, But it's it is worth checking out, especially for like just the way that the girls are, like the comedy moments in the game, like still work, and it's still just fun, like shooting Nazis. Like I don't care what anyone says, like that shit never gets old ever. Like it's fun as hell.
No, it's fun.
Yeah. But yeah,
okay, cool.
That's pretty much what I've been playing. I've been playing a load of other stuff as well, but we'll go into that next time. So it's all good.
Yep. Very simple thing I forgot. The Super Nintendo Switch Online is pretty cool.
Nice.
Recently beat Super Ghouls and Ghosts using the rewind feature.
Dude, I do that. I do the exact same thing on the SNES Classic. I do the exact save every like time you get past an enemy. Like no shame whatsoever. Like I'm fine with that.
No, well, otherwise, like I wouldn't have played that game for more than 10 minutes because it's so brutally hard.
It's impossible,
and it's got one of the most infamous trolls in a video game history. You get to the end of the game and you seemingly beat the last boss, and the princess is like, sorry, you need the ring. And it kicks you back to the beginning of the game, and you have to get to the final level with the ring equipped. You can't get the knife or the lance or anything. And it's like powerful but slow, and you can only get to the final boss and actually beat the game in his second playthrough, which my brother did when we were kids. I watched him do it. I have no fucking clue.
Sorry, but I don't believe you. I literally don't believe you. Like I don't think anyone's ever finished that game. It's just physically not possible. Like without the the quick save feature. Like no.
Oh
it
God.
doesn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, regardless of whether you believe my brother beat it 20 years ago, I did beat it using the rewind feature, and yeah, it's cool. I played a bit of Link to the Past and Super Metroid, and yeah, that's whatever. Nice. It's worth the $20 it costs a month now. But yeah,
great games, man. Great games. All right, cool. So what are we talking about this week, man?
Well. Not speaking of great games, there's a better segue there somewhere. Bad games, right?
Yeah, bad games or frustrating games. We should
bad
say.
Games.
Yeah.
So today's topic is games that were so bad or we hated so much or for whatever reason we put down and we will never pick up the control and play that game again. Is basically the long topic name. I'll start it off with a game that I actually brought up on this podcast years ago. I haven't played this game since I spoke about it, whatever week that was, 2 or 3 years ago. Star Fox Zero for the Wii U.
Nice. Yeah, this is infamously
That game
bad.
is, Star Fox Zero out of 10. I probably made that joke last time. It's not very original. I'm sure someone wrote that in the review as well.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. Actually, I do remember, like, it was either Kotaku or Polygon. Like, one of the reviewers refused to finish it, which is quite rare.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and it all kind of goes... That game looks pretty bad as well, but whatever. I'll forgive the graphics. It was on the Wii U. That's fine. But like games like Super Mario 3D World still look great, so take that for what it is. But anyways, the controls are terrible. And I talked about this. It's like someone took two control screens and like melted them down and mushed them together and then hammered it into a controller and put it in the water. And it's shit. The controls suck. And it's because of something we've talked about in this podcast. It's just like Nintendo has to find a gimmick for something, and the Wii U is probably one of the worst examples of that. Luckily, this generation, their gimmick worked. Now, I dock 100% of the time, bro. You know what I'm saying? But, like, whatever. It's some people say it's a handheld that plugs into your TV. I'd say it's a console that plugs into your TV and sits on top of a flat surface like every other single console. It doesn't move. Yeah, you can't unplug it and take it anywhere. It's not what the Switch does. But the fuck are we talking about? Oh, Star Fox Zero. So Shigeru Miyamoto, like I remember they pushed this game late because I'm guessing they're just trying to figure out how the controls work, because they use the gyroscope to control the direction of the ship, but also you can move it with the sticks. And it just does not work. Like, it is so fucking frustrating. And there's way too many levels where you're in a small area. Like, you actually go into a base and like your ship can become like a chicken walker. Okay. And just the camera just doesn't work in those small spaces. It's like it's a 3D platformer for the fucking N64. Like, the camera will just not cooperate.
I know that the game was developed by Platinum Games, which is probably the most shocking part of this whole game more than anything, is the fact that it comes from such like a pure pedigree sort of thing for Nintendo, and the fact that this was like the best they could do sort of thing for Star Fox is kind of nuts.
Yeah, Vin, I wish I was a fly on the wall when like Miyamoto went to Platinum and was like trying to like sell them on this gimmick. And they're just like, it doesn't work. Like, let's just make Star Fox 64 again. And he's like, no, like, these controls will work. The longer people, I believe in this, the longer people play, they'll get used to them. And I'll tell you right now, you cannot get used to them. It's almost impossible. It's so fucking frustrating. And I just, like, Miyamoto leaves the room and, like, all the Platinum Games devs are just, like, put their head in their hands, like, oh my God, like, fuck, this game could be so good if the controls just worked. And that's one of the most disappointing things about it is like, this could have been Star Fox 64 Wii U or whatever the hell you want to call it, because it looks good enough. If the controls worked, it would be fine, but the controls suck so much that I was about to probably smash my Wii U. What the hell is that thing called?
Controller. Yeah, it's a tablet, whatever it is.
But you break that and you're fucked. Like, you can't get a new one. So I probably, halfway through that thought, I probably like had it in my hands above my head and then like thought about it and then just like lightly placed it on the coffee table and never picked it up again.
Well, that's why you take the disc out and frisbee that out the window instead. The recycle dude with his song or whatever. You should have done that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I miss that sound. I'm so high up in my new apartment that I don't hear the recycle shop dude. No.
Oh, I miss that guy.
Yeah, that's my first game. That game sucks. I'll argue anyone on that. You cannot get used to the controls. Yeah, it's a terrible game. Yeah, you want my review? It's in the name of the game. Moving on.
Fair enough. Yeah, my first pick, I'm going to go down because I know you've got a lot of bad games, but I'm going to sort of take this on the frustrating sort of side of the spectrum. Like, so games that are
Okay.
probably deemed pretty decent, but I just, for whatever reason, like I found personally really, really frustrating. And the first one that comes to mind is a game that I played this year, actually, which is Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice.
Oh, I did
I,
not think that's where this was going, but yeah,
yeah,
do tell.
there's a lot of people that really love this game. It reviewed really well. And I know Souls fans are going to be saying, "No, you're just bad at Souls games or whatever." Like they do. It's like get good, bro. All that sort of stuff.
Get
And
good, bro.
there is an element to that, but the only caveat that I can say is I've played and finished Dark Souls games. I played Bloodborne. I finished Bloodborne. I got the true ending or whatever, like to show my prestige, bro. Like all that.
One of my
bullshit.
Sorry to stop you there. One of my favorite stories is that it was you got final ending in Bloodborne just so when you gave your criticisms about it, like you could shut up the people that were going to argue against it. Man. Well, if you haven't, so I love that you plowed through that just so you could shut those people up. That's pretty funny.
I mean, that's the only way that you can talk about Souls game, and Sekiro is like that as well.
Yeah.
Like I've got a lot of problems with Sekiro just on a design level, and people automatically say, "Oh, you just need to get good at the game." With no other game, no other genre in our whole industry, we do that, but with like Souls games, like we automatically say, well, you need to get better at the game. It's your fault that you're not enjoying the game, sort of thing. It's like, no, there is a fundamental sort of design thing with this. And the main reason what Sekiro did it for me was that the balance of the game just got way too like separate towards the end of the game. So like all the mobs are really, really easy to kill. Like you kill them in a couple of hits. Compared to like Souls, which they're sort of like every single enemy is like a little mini boss almost, because like you have to you can still get fucked up by an enemy in Dark Souls or in Bloodborne. Like if you're not careful, sort of thing, they can still kill you. The mobs in Sekiro, not so much. Like you can still take them out in a couple of hits. Like they're nothing. They're cannon fodder after a while. And then the juxtaposition, like the sort of opposite of that, which is sort of shoved in the game with that, is these really, really difficult enemies. And I'm not even sure of the bosses. Sorry, I'm not even sure if the bosses are actually that difficult. It's just because of the juxtaposition, you're constantly having to like jump between. You're not really practicing the game at any point, like ever, until you get to a boss almost, because everything else is super easy.
The enemies aren't challenging you enough.
Exactly.
So that it's quite a shock when you all of a sudden you get this difficulty spike.
Exactly. And it's that balance fundamentally which is so different from all the other Souls game, and it's just a bad choice in terms of game design, in my opinion. And it got to a point I got 3/4 of the way through that game and I got really, really close to the end. Based on conversations which I've had with people, and there was just certain bosses that I got to, it's just like this is impossible. Like this is nothing like the rest of the game. Like how the hell am I gonna like practice enough? And you just have to play it over and over and over again until you finally beat it. And because it's so frustrating in that respect, like there's no sense of achievement anymore. It's not like Bloodborne where you finally beat Gascoigne at the first boss in Bloodborne. You're like, fuck yeah, this is amazing, sort of thing, and you feel good about it. There was none of that sense of achievement. It just got to a point like, oh, finally, like, all right, now I can move on to killing mobs again for 3 hours until I hit another boss. And that's pretty much what happened. And there was one of the bosses which sort of tipped it in the mid game for me, which is there's a big gorilla in the game that loses its head, and its animations are
what?
Yeah, it makes no sense, and it's completely different to the rest of the game, I guess. But this was like in the middle of the game, but that boss specifically was just so different to everything else that was in the game. Like the way it moves, the way you're meant to move to like tackle it. And I understand that it's like a part of the challenge and stuff like that, but it just got so frustrating that when I did finally beat it, like I was so jaded over the game, and then I just carried on like the next 2 bosses after that with the same deal, and I was like, I don't really want to play this again. And to this day, I've still never finished it. I put the controller down on one of the bosses. I was like, fuck it. I haven't got enough health potions or whatever. Like I can't. Like the way that it works in Sekiro is that you have to pick up these little paper emblems or crosses to use your abilities. So it's sort of like a mana thing, and once you run out of those, you have to go and farm them again from mobs. So like you get halfway through a boss, you run out, and it's just a weird sort of loop that you get into, and you've got to go back, and it's just not a good design in my opinion, and it's sort of really ruined the game for me, and that's the ultimate reason why I walked away in frustration. But yeah, that was the biggest one on my list.
I'm so torn on this because like not many like kind of Jidaigeki games come out anymore.
No, you're right.
Like I guess Neo 2 is coming out, but like that's more fantastical.
Yeah, it's got like yokai and stuff. Yeah.
So when I saw this game, it's like look at you, like Tenchu Z Master Vin. I think that's what they called you in high school, right?
Accurate.
Like you're a Tenchu guy, and this game was originally kind of built to be a Tenchu game, and they kind of changed.
Yeah, I mean, right down my alley. So. And it's so unfortunate because like the way that you move around, the traversal is fantastic. The game looks amazing. Like the way the way that levels are sort of planned out are amazing. The level design is great. Everything about the game is great. It's just because like the mobs are so easy and the bosses are so much harder than anything else that they've done in Souls before. Like that weird balance that they've got, sort of, it just sort of killed it for me, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Funny enough, I heard that like Neo is harder than the Dark Souls games, so I don't even know if you're going to get your Jidaigeki.
No, I've played Neo. Neo's great. Like it's like the balance of the enemies and that are actually really well done. So like it feels like a Souls game, you know, like a normal Souls game. It sort of feels like Bloodborne, but it's a lot more sort of heavy, I guess. But it's definitely worth checking out. I would check it out if you're into that sort of thing. Yeah,
I'll have to play it at some point. This podcast should be like games that Evan will eventually get to. Like this and like Youngblood and I guess you're gonna have to wait till what, Ghosts of Tsushima to kind of get your fill of
Neo 2 will probably be out before that, so I'll probably play that next.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be good.
Yeah, you have to let me know how you feel about that game in terms of its difficulty.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, my next game is a game that I'll never play again, and I don't really know, did I beat it or not? Because there's 4 separate campaigns, played through half of them, and then I stopped playing it. So it really depends on how you feel about
4 different campaigns,
playing through campaigns.
All right, I don't know what you're talking about.
Resident Evil 6. The game sucks. It's terrible.
I never played this, so you're going to have to give me the rundown on it.
So basically, there's 4 separate campaigns. You play as Leon with another agent who's new to the series. Then another campaign, and you can choose any of these campaigns from the start. You don't have to play through Leon's to get to Chris's or anything like that. So Leon's campaign, Chris Redfield's campaign, what's his name? Alan Wesker?
Yeah.
Albert?
I don't know.
Wesker.
I've just known him as Wesker, I guess.
Yeah. Wesker's son's campaign, and then I think if you beat all 3 of those, you get to play Ada Wong's campaign. Now, I know Noxa, who's a Sifted community guy, he loves this game because he loves Ada Wong's campaign, and he swears by it. He's dead wrong. But I never got to Ada Wong's campaign because I couldn't fucking get through the Wesker. Like, I had my fill by the time I beat Chris Redfield's campaign.
Yeah, I saw like the trailer, and it's got like explosions, like buildings are falling down, and it's just like, where are the zombies? And it's just like shit was happening, and it was just like, this isn't Resident Evil. This looks wild.
They took the whole like crazy action, silly action, like a John Woo kind of face off.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like that 2010 era of Japanese games that came out where like just everything was just crazy and over the top like that. I know what you mean.
Yeah, they took it way too far. Like, jump the shark, punch the rock. That became kind of a meme. Like Chris Redfield, Superman punching a rock in a volcano. That actually happens at the end of that game. They took it. I think it was at a point where like, I think Resident Evil 6 sold way better than, it's like one of the most successful of the series, if not the most, which is
that doesn't even make sense
for me.
That doesn't even make sense.
No. Yeah, they took that shit way too far in this game, and I think it was at a point like, look at Resident Evil 7, they totally took a left turn, and I think even with 6 they didn't really, it seems like they didn't really know what they wanted to do. So
well, that's the proof in the pudding right there. That is the proof in the pudding right there. The fact that Resident Evil 6 was so bad, was so fucking awful in terms of just like pure quality of the game, and so far away from what the series was, they all like stopped after that and was like, maybe we should go first person instead. Like that's how bad it was that they changed Resident Evil to a first. Right. it's nuts.
Yeah, they lost their minds. Like they just pulled the plug. Like fuck this. They went
Yeah.
crazy. They're just like, oh, it's a first person game now. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, there's like way too many ideas in this game. That it's bad. Like Leon's is the most traditional Resident Evil game. Like in traditional, I mean, over like a third person kind of action like RE4, RE5 type game. A bit more horror. Chris Redfield's is way more action oriented. I have never ever played a modern third person shooter that has a worse cover system than Resident Evil 6. Because it's a game that's not designed for a cover system, but they put it in Chris Redfield's because it's like, okay, Leon's is the traditional campaign, Chris Redfield's is the more action shooter driven campaign. Like they tried to put, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. They tried to too many separate parts they tried to put together into a single game, and it shows because they made 4 campaigns because like they didn't have a single vision for this game. It is the weirdest, wonkiest. Like I think so. What is it? The first like cover shooter, I guess you could probably say like Time Crisis in the arcades was it, but like Kill Switch might be the first cover shooter, and then like Winback was also that. It's like plays as like weird as those, like when they were still figuring out how a cover shooter works. It's really hard to describe, but it sucks. The story's dumb. It does the weird thing where there'll be a cutscene and then it goes into gameplay and you walk forward like 4 steps and it goes back to a cutscene. I was like, why did you give me control? Just play out the cutscene. Like it does. It's. Do you remember like in Shenmue and like RE4 where QuickTime events were novel? It was like a novel idea.
Yeah.
Like they still have them in this game, but it's not like the Yakuza series where in boss battles, if you fail it's kind of cool because like you get a boss down like half their health, and then it'll cut to like this crazy like again like John Woo cutscene where like you're kicking knives away that are being thrown at you and kicking people through doors and stuff, and then like a guy will like break through the ceiling and then you have to hit triangle. But if you fail it'll just go to a different cutscene where you fail that, and then like you get stabbed and you lose some of your health, and then you get to control the game. This game doesn't do that. It's like you're in the subway, and then it's like, oh, push both bumpers, oh, you're dead. And it's like, well, that's not fair. Like I didn't. But it's like, why did you like? Didn't we throw QuickTime events out like years ago? Like, why did you put them in? So there's this. It's like. There's some good ideas in there too. Like you start by shooting the president of the United States in the fucking face because he turned into a zombie.
Nice.
And then you're wandering around a campus, a university campus that is basically like all the university students have become zombies. So like you're running through like lecture halls and stuff, and it's cool. Like that's cool. And then you go to like a graveyard, and then it just falls apart. Like you know how in Dead Space, like whatever direction you're facing, if you push left, right, or back, yeah, so like the direction his head is facing doesn't change whether you're pushing back or left or right on the analog stick. In Resident Evil 6, it's the control scheme that it does. So it's like unnecessary to have like a like the quick flick circle 180 degree turn. You don't need that. If you press back on the stick, or Leon will just turn around right away. And you just get in these weird situations where like you're trying to like have the button prompt show up to like pull a lever, but like because of the controls, like you can't like situate him right for the button prompt to show up. But it's bad. Like I got through Chris Redfield's campaign. I was like, wow, that was like the worst third person shooter I've ever fucking played. And it's a Resident Evil game. Like what are they trying to do here? And I tried with Wesker's campaign, and you're just like roundhouse kicking zombies, and it's like, this game sucks. It doesn't even play very well either. There's this weird thing where like you can fall on the ground, but there's like, it's like CQC in the Metal Gear games. Like I never figured out how to do that. I would always slam some guy into the ground.
I don't think anyone did.
Yeah, I was like, I'd always slam him into the ground and alert the entire base instead of like choking him out. I'm like, why is this so complicated? Like when you fall on the ground, you can like shoot or like roll, but it's like CQC. I'm like, I never figured the controls out. It's bad. The game sucks. What's your next game?
Yeah, I mean, to like piggyback off that, like the next game which I'm gonna mention it's sort of in relation to what you've been talking about, and I think it was that sort of time period in Japanese games development where there was a lot of compartmentalization, where they had development teams working on separate elements in sort of independence, and then they would bring it all together. So it's just like all like games around that era feel like they're just sort of tacked together tiles of features sort of thing, and they don't always work together like most of the time. And for like the whole of the PS3 generation, I think we had this sort of problem with Japanese games coming out like that, and I think Resident Evil 6 is definitely a victim of that. But also this game as well, which is also from that era, which is infamously Final Fantasy 15. This piece of shit.
Oh.
I could talk about this piece of shit for days. Oh, this was bad. Very much same problems with that game as what Resident Evil 6 had. You can tell that they had separate people working on this thing, and then they all just came together because the game just is a bag of hot mess, in my opinion.
How long did that game take to make?
It got announced, and then it took 10 years to get released, so it was probably in development for at least 11 or 12. At least.
Yeah, well, that's kind of proof that they definitely changed gears several times, changed visions, whatever you want to say, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened with Final Fantasy 14 as well, with Final Fantasy 14 version 1.0. And when they did that, and there's documentaries and stuff that you can watch on that, and like they highly document how they had this problem of compartmentalization where separate people were working on separate things. And I think it was just something that the whole of Square Enix were doing at some point, and then other companies started hearing about it and like, oh, maybe we should try that. If Square are doing it, that must be a good idea, right? It just did not work for like the whole of last generation, like in the PS3 era, in my opinion, but it's to each their own. But Final Fantasy 15, this fucking game. This game, it's so bad. I'm sorry, but just the way that they lean into tropes, like I've never seen anything like it in all my life. Like there's a way you can lean into
that
tropes.
Is saying something.
Yeah, there's a way you can lean into a trope and do it well. You know, you can lay down a layer of cheese for people to smell and be like, all right, like I see what you're doing here, sort of thing. And like the developers wink at the camera, sort of thing. It's like, yeah, you get it. And Doom does this really well. Wolfenstein does this really well. Bethesda have got a really good handle on this, in my opinion. Like the whole,
I agree.
With like Fallout, with the whole, there's a radioactive nuclear wasteland, but you're listening to fucking music and you're like happily blasting cockroaches. And it's all fun and games, and like there's that layer of cheese to it, and it works. It really, really works. But Final Fantasy 15, they just go all the way in and they're deadly serious about it, and none of it they just stick the landing. It's just awful. The main characters are the biggest egregious like thing in the whole game, where they're so tropey that they're hard to look by. Like Noctis is like this really emo kid, like very typical Japanese. He's got his happy best friend who's like super hyperactive. Yay, let's go on an adventure. And then they've got their other friend who's like really tall and big and muscular and is like, I will protect you. And then they've got their fourth friend who's like, I am super intelligent and I talk in a British accent. And just the horse shit that comes with that. It's just like the amount of games we've seen with these four characters, man. Like, how are they doing this again? It's nuts. It makes no sense. And then you're on a fucking car trip, and like you're on this road trip, and you're all just going on and it's just nothingness going by for like 12 hours. It's just boring, man. I just couldn't do it. I got 10 hours into that game. I just couldn't do it anymore. Yeah, there's people out there that love the game, and they're like, oh, wait until you get to chapter 4. It's like, fuck that. No, I can't do it. Like you couldn't pay me.
Now, if they had, that's one reason they didn't put out a 10-hour demo like Dragon Quest XI. If they would have, that game probably would have sold like half of what it did.
Yeah, man, it would have. It really, really would have. Because like the first 10 hours of that game, you're literally in a car, and there's just nothingness going by. Absolutely nothing. It's like you're in a desert, and they're like, look at this beautiful open world. We've got weather mechanics. It's like, yeah, so have every other game in the past 5 years, dude. Like, what are you doing? And it's just not fun. It's really, really not fun. And I'm sure the game picks up, and I'm sure it's great, but it's just very tropey. It's very overly serious for what it is. Like, if they had a bit more fun with it, I think it could have been something special, but I think they just too many cooks in the kitchen sort of thing.
Yeah, don't make a JRPG too serious. Like, like Japanese melodrama is some of the cheesiest shit that I've ever experienced. Whether that be like in a movie or a game.
I mean, it can be done well in the right context, you know. Like there are JRPGs that are coming out which are fantastic and people love them and they're great. But Final Fantasy 15 just isn't one of them for me. It's just absolutely awful. And that's coming from a die-hard Final Fantasy fan. Like I've played every single one of them. I love them all. 15 was the first I didn't finish, and I don't think I ever will finish it.
Going back to the idea of my love for a series forces me to play all the games in it. I have to beat Final Fantasy 15 at some point.
I will pay you money if you play 15.
I've cleared every single one of the mainline games aside from the MMORPGs, so I have to beat it at some point.
You know, do you know it'd be really funny? Like if you played it and you fell in love with it, and like it's just you talking about it for like next 15 episodes. That'd be hilarious.
I wonder because
right? Because I mean, we do have different tastes. Like there are games which you absolutely hate, and there's games that I love. Like I love Dying Light and Mirror's Edge. Like you didn't like them games that much. Like you're obsessed with Yakuza. Like I've been trying to play Yakuza 0 recently, and it's fun. But it's not like it hasn't hooked me like it hooks you. You know, like and there's that sort of thing. So I'm curious. Like if you play Final Fantasy 15. Maybe you're just like this is the best thing since Breath of the Wild. You know, like that would be really funny if it happened.
Well, I guess to be continued. We'll see.
Maybe it's good in Japanese. I don't
know. Maybe, yeah, maybe. The game's probably like 1,000 yen at Staya or something.
I believe it.
I'll have to browse. But very quickly, my last one is I got about halfway through the second mission in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered.
I didn't know this. You played a Call of Duty game? Tell us.
Well, it was free on PlayStation Plus like a couple months ago, I think.
No excuse. You know, like there's a reason you played this.
Call of Duty 4, right? The game that put Call of Duty back on the map and turned it into what it is now, right? That's the game. Call of Duty 4.
That's the one.
There's a guy with a mustache and a cigar or something.
Yeah, man. Captain Price. He's the man.
Yeah, so I got through the stage where you're like the training stage, and it kind of recommends a difficulty level.
One of my favorite quotes of all time is from that game in that level when like he says like stab the watermelon. It says your fruit killing skills are remarkable. Like it's one of my favorite quotes of all time.
I must have missed that. I played through that area until they recommended hard for me. So I, got used to like throwing bombs into doors and being accurate with like headshots and stuff on those targets. Yeah. But I played through the opening level, the ship, the tanker level, and it sinks and you jump into a helicopter. Did you see the Twitter post? I guess you didn't.
I didn't. I didn't see any of this.
Okay, I went the wrong way like 2 times and I failed out of the mission at the end.
That's pretty funny.
Because like when you respawn, it like doesn't respawn. You're not looking in the direction you're supposed to be, and I like went. It's actually pretty funny. Like some people made fun of me.
Well, at least you get inspirational quotes every time you did die.
Yeah, there you go. It was like, yeah, you went the wrong way, failed, and then another was like, you took too long because I got lost in the ship. Maybe it's just me, but so I beat that, and then I got into the next level and just like shooting people. And there's like a burning building. I was like, this game's fucking boring. And I just turned it off and deleted it from my hard drive.
Yeah, you gotta look at this in like the context of like 2008 when it came out. 2007, right. I think it came out. Like it was an amazing game when it came out. Like the first time there's a level where a nuclear blast goes off and you're literally you start the level and you're in like the zone where radiation's taken over and you've got to fucking crawl out of this helicopter and you just die. Like that happened in a video game and it was like, Jesus, like this is next level, like the Xbox 360 just came out. This is amazing. This is where this is the future. But like in retrospect, it's like, yeah, that's kind of shit,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of like military shooters, be it first person, online, or otherwise. I think the only first person military shooter I have ever finished was Spec Ops: The Line, but that's because the story was actually really interesting.
Excellent. Yeah.
Serviceable combat, but maybe I had to play it back then. But I know people, maybe it's a nostalgia thing similar to Final Fantasy IX, but I've heard people, they played remastered, like, oh yeah, that was great the second time around. I was like, I don't know. I will 100% admit I did not give that game a fair shake. I got a mission and a half through it before I deleted it.
No, I mean that's fair though. That is absolutely fair. I mean, this is the problem inherently with remasters. Like, if you didn't play it originally, then I don't think the remaster is going to do anything for any new players. Really, like, it's very, very rare. Like, I was actually quite shocked when Mitch said that he enjoyed Final Fantasy 9. I thought, oh, this is going to be bad, you know, because like, if he's never played it before, there's no nostalgia like pushing him through that as well. But with Modern Warfare 4, with COD 4, like, I could totally understand like where you're coming from. Like, with 2019 glasses on, I can imagine that game is pretty boring.
Yeah. So basically, with Star Fox Zero, it was a a Nintendo kind of blue ocean gimmick vision that ruined a potentially good game. Resident Evil 6 just sucks. And then this game is just not for me. I guess that's why I put it down. So it's 3 separate reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, all good. All good. Yeah, my last one, which I'm going to go over like really quick. Like, it's I've mentioned this one before, but Monster Hunter World. I played this recently. Everyone loves this game. It got 10 out of 10s. Reviewed really, really well, and I can totally understand why. Like, it's just
Iceborne is super successful as well. I heard.
Right, everyone's loving it, and
expansion,
and I loved it for like the first 12 hours. Like, I really, really did enjoy it. But then it started getting to the point where I was fighting like the big monsters sort of thing. And it's like, okay, this is the boss. It's like, you got to train up and get to this dude. And you're going through these levels and like trapping the small ones and like fighting the small ones and taking them back and getting the resources. That loop is super fun. And it's really, really cool to do. And you just get hooked into it really, really quickly. But when it comes to like the main monsters, they're just massive fucking sponges, and it takes like half an hour, and you're just swinging at the feet of these things. And even when like you're like, some of the monsters, like, you have to get above them, or you have to use certain tools to use them. You have to trap their feet and stuff, and there's like tactics, and they're moving around the map. All of it's super interesting, but when you're just swinging at the ankles of like a T-Rex looking thing for literally 30 minutes, and then you go online, you say, am I doing something wrong? Is this the game? And they're like, oh no, it'll get better, where like it'll only take 25 minutes to like take down a monster. I'm like, yeah, fuck this game, I'm not playing anymore. And I just never went back to it.
I don't have time for that shit. Right. I played the demo with I played the demo with my friend online. What's going on? Yeah, it's digital sofa co-op.
Yeah, dude.
You got
I don't believe you. Like, where is Evan, and what have you done with him? I need to ask you some Yakuza questions just to check if it's actually you.
I said I didn't like Call of Duty. I'm still here. It's still me.
Yeah, you're still there. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I remember playing that demo, and I was like, am I hurting this thing? Like, this is taking fucking forever.
It does take a long time. But the game looks beautiful. People love it, reviewed really well. I can totally see the gameplay loop, and I understand why people love it. It's just that game wasn't for me. And it was for that reason of you're just swinging at ankles. That's it. But yeah, right. My 3 games was Sekiro, just purely because of the imbalance, I guess, like the frustration of like the balance between the mobs and the main bosses, like, completely threw me off after a while. I can't remember what my second one was. Final Fantasy 15. It's so bad, my brain rejected it. Did you see that? It just got rid of it. It's like, you don't need to think about this game anymore. Just the tropey nature of the main characters. Like, the game doesn't look that great. It didn't play that great. Like, it just wasn't a good Final Fantasy, in my opinion. Like, if it didn't have Final Fantasy on the title, I don't think it would have done that well. I really don't. And the last game was Monster Hunter, just purely because it wasn't my cup of tea. But yeah, that's all for different reasons as well, I guess.
Yeah, it's coincidentally the second game that we both mentioned. We just thought sucked.
Right. Yeah,
just flat outright.
Yeah, that is pretty weird, right? Like, it just
we didn't plan that.
Natural progression.
Yeah, we'll be back next episode with a bit more positivity.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We can't keep trashing stuff, but yeah, that's
okay. Like, to end this on a good positive note. If you had to go back and play and finish one of your 3 games, which one would you choose?
What was my third game? Call of Duty? Well, Star Fox Zero is impossible. No one's ever finished that game. Resident Evil 6 is also impossible because it sucks. It actually might be Call of Duty. I can't believe I'm saying this. It actually might be Call of Duty, because that's like a totally competent game that, if, like, whatever, I like Wolfenstein games. Like, I like first-person shooters that, not necessarily with the military kind of theme going on. But yeah, it's a competent shooter that I'm sure has some like awesome parts to it.
For
which,
sure.
yeah, so that'd probably be it. What about you?
Yeah, I guess probably the third one as well. Just Monster Hunter, just purely because it's an amazing game. It just wasn't for me. Like if I pushed through it, I probably could like get into the flow of it, I guess. So yeah, it's interesting. Like I'd prefer to play a boring game than a bad game.
Are you sure about that? Have you ever played Lego Harry Potter?
Yeah, but that is arguably a bad and boring game. That's different.
That's true. That's true.
But the funny thing is that game didn't make this list because you fucking finished it. Like you're crazy.
Yeah,
you're absolutely insane.
Well, that is a good point. Why did I finish that game?
It's just like the thing that killed that game for you is the fact that you did it in like a week. I'm like, you played through all of Harry Potter in a week. That's like 2 remasters of Harry Potter in a week. And you were like,
should be a fucking Surgeon General's warning on that game.
Not for Evan Piotrowski.
Yeah. Playing Harry Potter may give you cancer. That's what it should say on it.
Too accurate. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Just want to say a massive thank you to everyone for listening, and we will eventually sort this podcast out onto other services such as Spotify and stuff like that. I was actually looking at it this week, so I'm probably going to do it this weekend. I've actually got some free time for the first time in a long time, so I'm going to get around to that soon. But if you do want to keep up with us, then make sure you go and check us out on Twitter. We are at Coffee Beer Cast, and we sort of update all of our episodes there every other week anyway. So our bi-weekly episodes will appear there, if not anywhere else. So anything else you want to say, Evan?
Nope, that's it. I'm good.
Sweet. Short and sweet. Where can people find you then?
The Stan User, Sifted Giant Bomb on Twitter. And how about you?
Yep, you can find me on Twitter. I am at Hillfort Games. I make little indie games, also do some concept art, and I also bitch about a lot of stuff. So come on there and get annoyed by me, I guess, or like my stuff. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, if you want to follow me, I'm on there. But from both of us here, I'd like to say a massive thank you for listening in, and we will catch you next time. So
see ya.
Ta-ta.